God bless everyone, and I greet especially our Love Gospel Assembly family here in the Bronx. I want to welcome you to our Nuggets of Hope, which is a small devotional that we have been giving to encourage each other as we continue to serve the Lord. Our theme for our Nuggets this time is a living hope. And as I've considered this word hope, especially from the biblical viewpoint, I find that hope truly is living. It is an active reality that motivates the believer in the midst of the most tragic of circumstances to trust God for what he has promised. It is an expectation that all of God's promises are moving toward fulfillment. It is hope which sustains us and carries each believer through life. And the truth is that Scripture teaches that God himself is our hope. Scripture we'll be reading from, is Romans 15:4, which says, "For everything that was written in the past was written to teach us, so that through endurance taught in the Scriptures and the encouragement they provide, we might have hope." The book of Romans is a letter written by the Apostle Paul to the believers in Rome. Rome was one of the most influential cities of that time, a city he had desired to visit. Paul's purpose was to lay down a theological foundation in regards to the grace of God and the righteousness that is imputed to those who through faith receive Jesus Christ. There are many doctrinal lessons Paul desires the church to grab hold of. The righteousness of God, the gospel, salvation, justification by faith, the law, the lavish love of God, and the role of the nation of Israel. And another purpose that Paul desires to teach was to instruct the believers on how to live with each other in a godly, righteous, and loving way. Can really use that one, right? One of the most major problems within the history of the nation of Israel, from Genesis to Revelation, if you look at it, was their disunity. Continued family squabbles and strife, civil wars, national division. And when you go into the New Testament, every New Testament church had its bickering, its altercations, its disagreements, right? The Corinthian church argued over its leaders and members who were suing each other in civil courts. The Galatian saints were biting and devouring, Paul says, each other. And two sisters in the Philippians church are exhorted to work in harmony with each other. And as we peek into Romans 15:4, the background is found in chapter 14, where division exists over two groups, Jew and Gentile, all right? Where Jewish believers were at odds over special diets and special days. The Jewish Christians would not eat meat, believing that it was meat offered to pagan deities, but the Gentile Christians had no inhibition. Jews also had thought it sinful not to observe the Jewish holy days with its ceremonies. The Gentile believers had no problem. This created tension within the members, and this is something that Paul addresses. In the New Living Translation, Romans 15, verses 1-4 says this, starts out this way: "We who are strong." That word that Paul uses there means we who are able, you who are able, you who are capable, you who are powerful in the faith. In other words, you who are mature in the faith must be considerate of those who are sensitive about things like this. We must not just please ourselves. We should help others do what is right and build them up in the Lord. For even Christ didn't live to please himself. As the scripture says, "The insults of those who insult you, O God, have fallen on me." Such things were written in the scriptures long ago to teach us, and the scriptures give us hope and encouragement as we wait patiently for God's promises to be fulfilled. So Paul is encouraging them towards unity. Matter of fact, verse 4 is said to be a parenthesis that Paul uses to emphasize the importance of the Old Testament in the lives of New Testament believers. Though forms, types, shadows, and many prophecies have been fulfilled in Christ, the Old Testament still provides principles and lessons for living before God and each other. Paul states that everything that was written was for our instruction. Now that's comprehensive. The good and bad revealed was didactic in purpose. The way Paul applied the Old Testament in the lives of Romans is found in the words encouragement, endurance, comfort. Paul realized the Christians in Rome needed all three of these virtues, just like we do, right? Keep in mind, when confronted with the issues that are not necessarily sin related, and the Bible doesn't many times specifically speak in reference to them, Paul informs us that one of the intents of scriptures is to give us instruction and hope. We have the testimony, encouragement, and the wisdom of scripture to guide us. When, because of their constant murmuring, their rebellion, idolatry, and immorality, the people had corrupted themselves, that God was ready to destroy them, Moses stepped in to intercede for a people that were guilty, and God heard him. That's a lesson to learn. That's encouraging. Who has not received encouragement and hope from the story of Joseph, right? A story of family jealousy, of betrayal, of deceit, of hatred, from the pit to the prison to the palace to family reconciliation. What a story. Whatever is meant for evil, God knows how to turn it around for our good. Joseph did not allow his heart to grow seeds of resentment, bitterness, and anger, but held on to hope. Notwithstanding that, I know it was not easy for him. It was could imagine what he went through, but he held on to hope. The story of David, a shepherd, warrior, king who takes what does not belong to him and attempts to bury the truth through murder, yet receives forgiveness from God. It is said that his repentance was greater than his sin, and God fulfills his purpose in his life. Abraham and Sarah, wow, teach us that age is no barrier for God. He can still use you at 8 or 80. They reflect patient endurance despite the challenges they face, and they faced many of them. So, and in light, as we bring this home somewhat, in light of the brokenness of our world, the hatred, the violence, the wars, the political unrest, the hopelessness, the despair, etc., 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 we need hope. Not hope in our systems, in our politics, in our government or judicial systems, but the hope found in God's word, in the gospel, the hope found in Jesus, who is our comfort, encouragement, example of perseverance, who is our hope. Leon Morris, in his book, The Epistle to the Romans, states it this way. I love it. In reference to hope in this verse, the present tense of the verb points to the continuous possession, and the article before hope seems to show it is not the general hope of mankind of which Paul is writing, but the specifically Christian hope, the hope that is given by what Christ has done in winning our salvation, the hope that leaves no doubts and sustains Christ's people in the darkest days. God bless you. I hope this blesses you. Amen.
Thank you for joining us in this week's Nuggets of Hope. We hope you continue to join us, and we hope that you are blessed by each teaching. You can join us on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. God bless you.